how to deliver a killer presentation for tech guys, what should I talk about, and why am I doing this? Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Natalia. I'm a cloud and DevOps engineer, and today let's talk about something different, still around technology. I'll be sharing about my first ever conference talk at the Cloud Native Summit for Australia and New Zealand, and what strategy I was following. Public speaking is a horrendous experience for many people, and I'm in the same boat. I was so scared that I wanted to cancel my presentation because just thinking about it gave me a shiver.
I am so paralyzed!
You might ask, Natalia, what the heck? It's a technology channel and we need to talk about coding and certifications. I believe it's not exactly like that. Even if you work as a software engineer, cloud engineer, whatever engineer, you need to share your ideas, solutions, explain your thought process and code, and just be able to talk to non-tech folks in a simple language. In one word, you need to present. For tech consulting, delivering a presentation is their bread and butter. This is how salespeople put the food on the table for the firm. What about just engineers and developers who work in trenches? Do they really need it? I work in trenches, so what? I don't deliver a presentation every single day, but preparation for the conference gave me so much confidence and the knowledge of how to frame my story, give my presentation some structure, set up a mindset, and the most importantly, stay authentic. Stick around till the end of the video and I'll share a little glimpse how big conferences work. Let's get started, shall we? When the conference organizers announced a call for speakers, I thought I was going to try because everybody wants experts and well-known professionals in the industry. I'm not going to make it and it's completely out of my comfort zone. Oh dear, how I was wrong. They chose me and gave me a slot for a pre-conference talk. About 90 people signed up for the pre-conference talk and 50-60 people showed up that day. Every speaker was given about 10 minutes for their presentation. So I had about a couple of months to prepare for my talk. I approached this task from different angles. I took a couple of online courses on public speaking and data visualization. I've read Todd Like Ted by Carmina Gallo. On top of that, I explored my topic in depth and tried to squeeze the most important technical information. By the way, my topic was Azure DevOps. It's a great tool, and I mentioned in one of my videos that I had to work with Azure for some time in the past. And this is what I did to elevate my presentation. Research and framing a story. The first and the most crucial step for me was thorough research and framing my story. I started to collect technical information, highlights of my personal experience, and visuals for my presentation. My goal was to incorporate a report with a compelling story. The problem is that reports can be data-rich and exhaustive and boring at the same time. How to make a technical presentation engaging? So I decided to use a classic storytelling pattern, chronological order, where you have an introduction with the main characters, setting, and initial circumstances. Then something starts to happen, rising action, where we describe events or actions that build tension or introduce challenges. After that, we have a climax. It's a turning point in the story where the conflict reached its peak. After that, we have falling actions where events that happen as a result of the climax, leading towards resolution. Resolution is the last stage where we see the final outcome or conclusion of the story. Many people use Azure DevOps in their everyday professional life, and I wanted them to see through my personal story, metaphors, and narrative how it can look differently and how they can teach and explain to their clients and colleagues what Azure DevOps is about. I personally think if your talk is simple and successful, it's a little miracle because people will see the world differently afterwards. I was thinking about how I could take the audience on my journey. This is the main purpose and goal of any presentation. Be yourself. I realized one thing, you don't need to pretend who you are not. I don't need to pretend being an expert with 20 years of experience behind my back. I just need to be myself and share what I learned and my perspective on this topic. The most interesting thing is that I'm professional with unconventional path to the technology industry, and I have many years of experience in non-technical fields. So I incorporated my personal story with topic, and it got very positive feedback. I realized that one of the most important points in delivering a great presentation: don't try to cover too much ground. Go deeper, be more specific, and share your unique contribution. For example, I was describing how I worked with this tool, how clients were finding this tool. People were approaching me after my presentation and saying that they would never think about Azure DevOps in this context, which is so simple and very efficient at the same time. I was truly humbled by all the comments and kind words about my presentation. Keep it simple. Use the Feynman technique. Who is this guy and how does it work? Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who did a lot of work and research in areas such as quantum mechanics and particle physics. He also was one of the pioneers in quantum computing. As we all get, he was one of the top dogs in STEM. But what made him really famous was the way how he was learning and explaining the most complex topics. In reality, reading is not understanding. There are only two ways to really grasp the concept: hands-on practice and teaching. His technique involves simplifying initial explanations and refining understanding through simple analogies. That's what I'm doing on this channel through some technical videos. You can check it here. Why this step works, you might wonder. Because simplicity is a clear passage for understanding. It's easy enough to push it down the memory line and recall it back when you need it. I had to refine word by word my whole presentation, and in some places where I thought I was getting into the weeds, I had to break down some sentences into digestible chunks and replace a bit of techie jargon with simple language. You need to prepare your presentation to the level where 10, 11 years old children can understand you. I tested it on my 10 years old daughter, and in addition on my husband, who didn't have any idea about what Azure DevOps is. They both said they got the idea and how it works overall. Complexity can cause you to lose the audience. Focus on delivery. This was quite challenging for me because it was my first time delivering in front of so many people. Also, take into consideration that English is my second language, plus public speaking is just nerve-wracking experience. I decided to memorize my talk and was rehearsing word by word for so many hours. I was rehearsing solo every day and in front of my family every evening, to the point so they started to know it by heart. Honestly, I thought I did my best, but because of my nerves, I stumble upon a few times. Get feedback from experts and professionals in your field. I was lucky enough to share my presentation with my technical lead, who is in the business for about 20 years, I guess. He's a top guy in the DevOps area, and getting positive feedback from him was just like a blessing. He advised me where I could skip some information or add more details. I asked him if any analogy could resonate with the audience and make sense just in general. He was also attending the conference and was super supportive. Don't be shy and get feedback from your professional network. Stage presence and eye contact. I feel more comfortable and relaxed in front of my camera. It's completely opposite feeling of standing in front of a live audience. Let me share honestly, it's just another whole level of experience and so paralyzing. With the help of public speaking courses, I applied a few tactics. It was super helpful, let me share. Come to the event a bit earlier and get to know other speakers and their topics, and in general get friendly with them. It's always good to take chances to expand your network, right? Besides this, when it's your turn, you'll be able to establish eye contact with the speakers, and they will give you some encouragement and support with their smiles and nodding. I found that eye contact is incredibly powerful and will do more than anything else. Also, another good tip about the posture. You don't need to move a lot on the stage. It can be distracting if you are not a professional speaker. Move your upper body like I'm doing now and keep your lower body motionless. It gives a much stronger stage presence. I have to admit it was more stressful than I expected. Even though I was putting a lot of hours and effort in my talk, it wasn't exactly right how I wanted. Don't underestimate the fear of public speaking. It's stressful and overwhelming. At the same time, it's a skill, and over time, we all can get better if we work on it. Hope my recommendation will help you to get through this type of stress. And here's a little sneak peek of Cloud Native Summit. Let's go!